Yo, Trojan family, what's up? Welcome back to the USC LAFB show here in the LAFB network. I'm your host, Ryan Dyrud. Quick update for you across the defensive line in terms of 2027 recruiting. Two of the biggest names on the defensive line, local prospect Marcus Fakatow and one of the top edge prospect plays at IMG Academy in Zyron Forstall. And let's see where USC is. Now, Fakatow, interestingly enough, it seems like, at least based on visit schedule, USC is maybe cooling a bit, whether that's them cooling on him cooling on them just being a little late in the game. But so far, he has set 4 official visits and reportedly has 3 pending. USC is not any of those 7. His 4 official visits scheduled are Ohio State, Texas, Oregon, and Michigan. And his 3 pending that he says he told Rivals he is working on finalizing are Penn State, Notre Dame, and Georgia. So I believe USC is still very interested in pursuing him. This would be one of the big fish of this class. Obviously, a local kid you'd love to keep home playing at Orange Lutheran. I've said many times he has that defensive line versatility where you could literally line him up anywhere on the defensive line, which new coach Skylar Jones touched on, Sean Nua touched on, Gary Patterson has touched on, as they love that versatility. When they're looking at recruiting, there's a few steps Skylar Jones talked about what they're looking at in defensive line prospects, specifically D-tackle. One of those boxes they want to check is versatility. Where can you play across the line, or are you locked into one spot? Fakatow, I believe, can play anywhere. I've said you could line him up 0 if you want, 6'7", 300 pounds, or you could put him out at 9, way wide. I think he has the speed and the athleticism to be a true end rusher as well in certain situations. But for whatever reason, they may not get an official visit. Now, I'm not saying they won't, but if he locks in these other 3 pending, that's 7 official visits already on his list. And so, there's only so many weekends or so many, days on the official visit calendar. Now, the benefit USC has is because they are local, they could get him in on an official visit like midweek. Like we saw last year, remember, Jet Washington, I ultimately ended up committing to Oregon, so it didn't work out. But he came on an official visit on like a Wednesday, just kind of a quick, but it was just him by himself, him and his family. USC kind of showed him out. So they could still do something like that ultimately with Fakatow. But for someone like him, you would certainly love to get him on one of the premier weekends with other recruits, with other players who are already committed to USC that are like, hey, we want you to be here with us. Like, look at what this place is building. We want you to join in the party here and stay home. I mean, that's what happened with Luke Weufel. Ultimately, obviously, NIL played a factor, and we know about the back and forth negotiations in the last 24 hours between USC and Ohio State to get it done. But that was right after his official visit. When he came on his official visit to USC, he was with, I believe, 8 other recruits. So of the 9, he was the only one not committed. The other 8 were all already committed to USC. That was a powerful tool USC used, plus the NIL arm they had with Chad Bowden and his team to really, sweeten the deal and get it done. So that's what you would love to see. You'd love to see Fakatow on one of those weekend visits with some other high-end, not just high-end, but just other recruits and commits where they can start to build that bond and relationship. As of now, not looking great just because of the amount already set up. He said before, the 3 kind of leading the charge for him are Michigan, Ohio State, and Georgia. Notre Dame significantly fallen off after their defensive line coach left. He was seemed like a shoo-in to Notre Dame. Not saying they're out yet. As I said, they're pending an official still. But since their D-line coach left, that seems like that has certainly cooled, with Michigan, Ohio State, and Georgia certainly being the ones he's most impressed with. He visited all 3 schools in January, as he did USC as well, quickly for a surprise visit on Junior Day. To me, this is just my opinion, I think Michigan's kind of the leader. I just think there's something about Michigan. Obviously, a lot of that staff was previously at Utah, so there's some known there, some known development with that coaching staff and what they're able to do. And now with the big brand of Michigan, I think there's a lot of buzz there with Fakatow in there. But USC not out of it. But it's going to take if they really want him, it's going to take a pretty Herculean effort. But remember, Luke Wafel, they picked up buzz late. I mean, they were not in the Luke Wafel race till like the June visit. Like they were, there was visit, they flew out East Coast, Henny and Nua flew out and visited in the springtime. But they were certainly not seen as one of the top dogs. And then when June came around and his official visit, they shot up. So they're certainly not out if they still want Fakatow. Like the question is, are they still heavily pursuing? Which I don't know why they wouldn't be. They can, I think, still get it done, but they have a hill to climb. But, for how great Coach Henny is and how great Coach Henny was at recruiting, like people I've talked to, Luke Wafel was primarily here because of Nua. Because of Coach Nua. Now, obviously, that makes sense considering Nua is the edge coach and Luke Wafel is edge, but has a great relationship with Coach Nua. So, Coach Nua can certainly close the gap with Marcus Fakatow along with Skylar Jones if they go all in on it. But they're going to need a full court press here because they got 7 other schools that already 4 have official visits, 3 are pending. USC's got to jump on that quickly. The other one, Zyron Forstall, as I mentioned, USC's kind of been up and down in this recruitment, had some momentum, kind of cooled. They're still certainly in it. Texas A&M is the leader right now. Been to College Station multiple times, so they're continuing to kind of build that lead a little bit. USC, though, still in it, along with LSU and Notre Dame. So they're certainly not trying to edge out of this, pun intended. But we'll see if they get him for an official, which I would assume they will. Now, one thing that's kind of interesting, and this, again, it's a relationship business. That doesn't mean these guys all just want to play with their high school buddies. But I think there is some element of that helps. Being at IMG, Aaron Washington now committed to USC is now at IMG on the defensive side of the ball. We know about their recruitment of Asani Gales and Eric McFarland. We know about Brett College coming from there last year and others. Like USC is building a nice relationship pipeline with IMG Academy. When you think about what they've finally reestablished here in SoCal with Mater Dei and Sierra Canyon and Santa Margarita and just the great SoCal schools, like their top out-of-state school right now is IMG. Like that's their top pipeline. That and Colorado, some of the Colorado schools. So they do have a good relationship coming out of IMG, so that could bode well for them with Forstall if they're able to get him on campus. So Forstall and Fakatow, different technical positions, different size profiles. Forstall 6'3", 235, so more of a true edge. 5-star player, though, number 2 edge in the class. As I've said before, I see USC taking 3 defensive linemen. That's where I'm capping it at. Maybe 4. I don't see any more than 4, but I see it more at 3. They got one in Isaiah Vandermeide. I think you swing for the fences for one of these kids, either Forstall or Fakatow. I don't see both. Remember, this is NIL now. Like, it's going to cost a pretty penny. So I think one or the other, and then you get another kind of in-state kid to shore it up there for your 3rd spot, which we've talked about a ton about the other defensive line prospects. So we'll see how this shakes out, but it feels like they're a little bit behind with both Fakatow and Forstall, but both in it, certainly, if they choose to really ramp it up and pursue, which I think they will. I think they're keeping those doors open, and the big thing is getting official visits locked up for both these guys. But can they beat out Michigan for Fakatow? Can they beat out Texas A&M for Forstall? We will see. Keep it right here, USC LAFB. Hit that like and subscribe button. Become a member of the channel for all of your recruiting needs and all of just your USC needs year round. I can't wait for spring camp. Starting next week. I'm going to be on campus again next week. I was on campus last week for the USC Spring Media Day. It felt so good to be back. And it's just such a blessing that I get to do this. And it's all because of you guys and you guys subscribing. So let's keep this thing growing. Appreciate you. As always, family. Fight on. Hey, Trojan family, thank you so much for hanging out and watching the USC LAFB show. Before you go, let me tell you quickly about our friends over at Sleeper. Go right now, download the Sleeper app. It's the #1 sports app, not just for season-long fantasy, but they've got live pickers, they've got live stat updates, they've got a chat that you can chat with other users, plus the daily pick'em. which is a blast, or daily fantasy, whatever you want to call it. You go and pick 2 to 8 players across any sports. If you're talking USC, go choose Jade Mayava in his next matchup. Pick more or less passing yards, more or less touchdowns. You stack those, and you can win real money. When you go to make your first deposit, make sure you use our promo code USC LAFB. You're going to get a match deposit up to $100. Put in $100, you get $100 free to play with from Sleeper. Put in $10, they'll match you that $10. So now you're sitting at $20 to play with. But also right now, for any new users, no deposit required. You get $20 free entry. You can stack both. You can get the $20 for free. Go make a deposit. Use USC LAFB. And now you've got a bunch of free money to play with right there on the Sleeper app. Check it out, Trojan family. And when you do, tell them the guys at the USC LAFB sent you.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.